got seasonal jobs, we have manufacturing jobs, jobs. But we want to talk more about this best rate of job growth in 15 years. We're going to take a look at this with Peter Morici. He's an author and professor at the Robert H. Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland. It's good to have you here.
Nice to be with you.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You happy with these numbers?
I'm really happy. This is a great report across the board. Lots of jobs every place.
You haven't been before.
No, I haven't, and I'd like to see more of these. Now, we're a little bit concerned that this is a one-off because the pace of growth was really rather good the last 2 quarters, and now the economy is going to get to a more moderate level.
Is there something in this report that makes you happier versus all the other reports? I've tried to get you to be happy about the reports. I've completely failed. What's in this report that you're saying good?
The goods-producing sectors, other than mining and petroleum, which was flat, were very, very strong. Manufacturing was strong, and that's counter to some of the reports we have been getting about the manufacturing sector. It indicates that all of this insourcing that's been going on is finally turning into jobs, and those jobs create a very good career ladder for ordinary folk.
Two surprises in the report that I kind of that piqued my interest. One was the number of professional jobs that were created. I think we mentioned a headline number of like 89,000 or so. But anyways, that's a number we care about because when we complain about not having enough high-paying jobs, that's the area where you want to see strength. So we got that this time. Is that going to be a trend, or do you think we need to get more data first before we jump up and down?
The U.S. economy is becoming more competitive, especially in areas like software, technology services, and so forth. And that shows itself not just in those sectors, but supporting sectors like the legal sector and so forth. Not so much the Richmond law firm, but the New York law firm. The real problem in the U.S. economy, and it was in your report, is we're creating a lot of jobs at the top and a lot of like restaurant, retailing stuff. It's the middle where we've been lacking. And that's why 1 out of 6 men is still unemployed. I
blame robots for that. Look, the other issue that a lot of people are waiting for is this increase in pay. It's great to have more jobs. It's great to have the hourly hours worked, but we're not getting hourly earnings, wages moved up. And this report showed us for the very first time we got a little bump in that.
Yes.
What happened?
Well, it seems as though in some parts of the country that employers are having to pay more, not just for highly skilled people, but for ordinary people with the right habits. This also came out in the Federal Reserve Beige Book that was released this week. In some of the regional banks that were reporting, they noted that there was wage pressure on the upside. That's good news.
Where's that coming from? Is that because there's too many jobs and not enough people?
Well, that's why you get wage pressure.
Is that just a simple answer?
The thing is, it's not so much not enough people, but the desirable people, the people that perform. And you and I both know that in the same job, 3 people, 2 outperform the other one. They're starting to be able to demand and get a little bit more value for the productivity they're creating.
I will ask for a raise after the show.
You need to give me a slice of that.
But in all seriousness, Peter, there is a group of individuals out there in the American economy, and you highlighted some of them, sort of near the middle class to working class, and they may have been out of work for a while. We call these sort of extended unemployment employees, and they have had a tough time. Men and women, different races, doesn't matter how you slice it. If you've been out of work for a couple years, it's very hard to get back in. Are we worried about those individuals?
We are still worried. We're going to need a lot of months in a row of the kind of number we just had to start to make a dent.
Do they ever come back to the economy?
Yes, they do. If we get, 6 months to a year of numbers like this, and we had that during the Reagan years, if we get that, then that will start to create an environment where employers want to take these people on, invest a little bit in training. Because, someone who's been unemployed for a couple of years might not be immediately productive, but if they have a track record of in the past being a highly productive employee, they can be resurrected, they can be retrained, and they can be made very productive again.
You're dating yourself by talking about Ronald Reagan, but look, let me talk about where the jobs are, because you talk to the trucking industry, they have a shortage of workers. You talk to the pilot industry, they have a shortage of pilots. Because we have all these people where people are retiring, people who drive the train engineers, all these industries where, let's be honest, they're older, there are not a lot of young people who want to go work in those industries. They're going to have a massive shortage of workers. Do we have enough workers being trained to take those jobs?
Yes, we do. You're talking about very specialized situations. Because of the petroleum boom, we're now moving 1 million barrels a day of oil east to west, from the Dakotas to New Jersey and Newark, Delaware. Training people to work on the railroad takes time. Likewise, we have new regulations which require more pilot training. So it's going to take a little bit of time to widen that pipeline so you can put more people through for a longer period of time. But that will take care of itself, because those are desirable jobs that people want to do.
What's the most exciting thing about this report?
The wage increase, seeing a wage bump for the first time.
See, we agree on this.
Absolutely. And the manufacturing sector, seeing strength there. I'm starting to think that America's coming back.
And what do we worry about?
Well, we know that growth has to slow down. We were at a breakneck pace for an advanced economy the last 2 quarters. The question is, can we keep this pace of jobs growth up? It's going to be tough. My hope is that these people that are getting these jobs get out there and spend some money for Christmas. Therefore, that would in turn induce the economy, get more people hired, get into a virtuous cycle, and once the wheel of prosperity starts spinning, it gets hard to stop.
So if I'm a student in your class and I say, Professor, what should I be when I grow up? Where are the hot industries? Where do I want to be? What do I want to be studying?
The important thing is to have a specialized skill so you can find something that other people can't do. You know, you can major in English and still do well, but you might have to be an editor. You won't necessarily be able to be a reporter. If you want to be in the media business, well, you know, let's face it, everybody wants to be on this side of the camera. There are lots of good jobs on the other side of the camera. My little college, Plattsburgh State, offers a very good program for people to learn to be the technicians that are running the studio right now, and they're employed in this city right now. Educated in the Adirondacks, they come down the pipeline here.
Very quickly, we've had some positive data out of China, talk about stimulus. We've had some relatively positive data out of Europe. You take this combination, plus lower oil prices. Is the strength of the U.S. right now a function of sort of the world, sort of everything being at the right place at the right time?
I think not. The world is pulling the United States back. The situation in Europe is not helpful to us.
But it's a lot better than it was a few years ago.
Right, but it's getting sour again over there. And the price of oil is a two-edged sword for the United States. You know, down to $70 a barrel, it boosts the economy. Below $70 a barrel, where it is now, it starts to pinch this oil boom that we're having in the Dakotas and in Texas, and that's not a good thing. China worries me because of the credit bubble. It's organized differently. It's not a market economy in the classic sense, so we don't know how that works itself out. But I'm getting very, very concerned about China's credit bubble and also the credibility of the growth numbers we're getting. For the kinds of changes that have been taking place in China, the notion of growth slowing from 7.8 to 7.4, that's a very small movement. Something's going on there, and we need to be concerned about it.
Okay, we're going to have you back to have another discussion on this. Peter Morici, good to see you, professor at University of Maryland, talking all things business, and of course this outstanding jobs report from him.